Hey, everybody. Super excited to chat today with an industry storage legend, Russ Kennedy of Nasumi. Russ, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Evan. How are you?
I'm well, thanks you. Thanks for joining. Really excited to have this chat given your background and expertise. Um, you've been in this industry 25 plus years, so I won't say you're old, but yeah, we're both getting there.
Legend
Uh,
equals old sometimes. So,
But talk about before we dive into all things, assuming maybe introduce yourself and your role, a little
sure.
bit about your background. I guess starting back in storage tech days.
Yeah. So, as you say, I've been in the storage industry for a long time. First started in the late '80s in storage technology here in Colorado, which is where I still live. I've had all kinds of roles from developer to manager to leading product lines to product marketing to product management, through a number of companies, both big and small. But I've been with Nasuni now for about 6 years as the chief product officer, and my role is primarily to set direction and strategy for our company. What products do we need to build to help attract new customers, to help our existing customers do more with their data, be more efficient with the data that they have, and certainly, be able to expand and grow very efficiently with the Nasuni platform. So that's really kind of my main focus. I do work a lot with technology partners in the industry. We partner very well with some of the major cloud providers that are out there in the world today, and so a big part of my role is to ensure that what Nasuni is doing can match and align with where the cloud partners are going, with other technology partners in the industry, and again to be able to deliver more integrated and seamless solutions for our customers.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that. 2024, Happy New Year. Maybe give us a state of the union, state of play in the cloud marketplace, cloud storage marketplace. Where are we? What are the big line items for this year?
So storage is always growing and always changing and always evolving, if you will. And being in the industry for a long period of time, I've seen a lot of changes and evolutions and new technologies being introduced. But one of the areas that is a big focus, particularly from a cloud perspective, is being able to enable customers to use their data more efficiently for things like AI, machine learning, data intelligence in general, to be able to have those avenues and those pipelines to be able to take advantage of the data that they have, that they've generated over years of being in business, and being able to use that data to drive outcomes for their industry, for their organization, to be able to be more competitive in their industry, to be able to drive more value for their customers, understand more and better what their customers need. So I think it's really all about enabling solutions to be able to use data more efficiently and to be able to drive outcomes using tools like AI to drive those outcomes and make businesses more profitable and more competitive.
Brilliant. Love the approach. So we've all seen the exponential growth in data, big data with AI in particular. Are we able to keep up from a cloud perspective, from a storage perspective? How are we going to meet the challenges of this exponential growth curve we're on?
Sure. And the interesting thing about being in this industry for a long period of time is data continues to grow, and it continues to grow at a very accelerated rate. And it's interesting how organizations try to keep up. Certainly, one of the focus areas for Nasuni is to provide a hybrid cloud platform that enables customers to grow seamlessly and to leverage the capacity and the availability of storage in the cloud so that they can grow very easily as their business needs grow. And certainly, data growth and, things like, 8K cameras and LiDAR systems and other things that are generating large amounts of data we're able to keep up with that because we deliver a solution that allows our customers to grow and take advantage of, cloud capacities and the availability of storage in the cloud very cost effectively, by the way, and be able to grow and expand their business as they need to. Our platform allows that scalability to be very seamless and very easy for them to adopt and consume as they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are very proud of your cloud native global file system
We are.
kind of architecture platform. Tell us more about it. Why is it so unique and different in your opinion?
Well, the first piece is the scalability piece that I mentioned before.
Hmm.
We leverage object storage in the cloud, and of course, that's been around for a decade or more now, and continues to grow and expand and offer more services and capabilities for our customers. So that's one piece of it. We also have some built-in security capabilities for customers' data to be able to do things like protect from ransomware or identify ransomware at the edge where it enters into your
Mm.
system and be able to mitigate those kinds of activities on your data very quickly and very efficiently. That's part of the capabilities that we have. One of the unique things about Nasuni is our whole architecture in this whole notion of all of your data lives in the cloud. It lives in object storage. Your data is consolidated there, but you have these edge devices that give you access to that data wherever they may need to be. They can be in physical offices, they can be in manufacturing centers, they can be in remote locations where there's not a lot of infrastructure, but yet you still need access to data. And we provide that sort of edge to cloud kind of architecture that allows customers to consolidate their data in the cloud, have it be protected, secured, scalable in the cloud, but then give access to that data wherever that access needs to be. And again, I mentioned several different locations. It could also be if you're running applications in the cloud itself, you can still use the Nasuni platform to access your data inside the cloud. So we have a very robust architecture that's sort of hub and spoke. The data sits in the cloud
Mm.
in your object storage container, but then you have these spokes that wherever you need data to reside and whatever data is active at that given location is residing at that location. So you have that best of both worlds. You get the performance of a local file server or local cache, if you will, where that data needs to be accessed, and the consolidation and scale of the data in the cloud, all in one platform.
Oh, fantastic. Value prop. So you talk to business leaders, you talk to CIOs and CTOs, CISOs all the time. I've seen some great testimonials on your YouTube page. What are they saying today about the challenges they're facing when managing data in the cloud? It must be a multitude of factors, but what are you hearing firsthand?
Well, the biggest challenge that we come across with most organizations is, and this sort of accelerated quite a bit with the pandemic when everybody went home and people were
Mm.
working from remote locations. There is now islands of data across organizations where it could be very important data, it could be very timely data for that organization, but it exists in this silo, or it exists in another silo, or it exists somewhere else in some other location where you have workers working at that particular branch office or whatever. So understanding where data is today is one of the biggest challenges that organizations have, and it's really one of the things that helps them look at Nasuni as a very viable solution for them, because one of the things that we do help them do is consolidate that data from all of these different islands and locations into one global file system in the cloud, so that you have one management point, one set of data. You have multiple versions, and you can always use those multiple versions for recovery if you need to, or protection from ransomware, like I mentioned earlier. But you have a lot of ways that you can take advantage of data and where that data resides using our architecture. So as customers have the need to understand where all of this data is coming from and where it has come from, we help them do that assessment, look at all their different footprints, look at all their different locations, and then once they're ready, consolidate that data into the cloud so it can then be usable. So that's the biggest challenge we see is customers in a lot of cases, especially big enterprises, have a general understanding, but not a detailed understanding of all the data that they have and all the different locations that they're managing.
A fantastic insight. So you've been in this space as we said a long time. You've seen all the legacy solutions out there. Why is there so much sort of technical debt and legacy in storage? Is it just sunk cost and it's tough to move? Is it lack of knowledge, the skills, understanding of the migration. What's happening in the storage space that we all aren't in the cloud yet?
It's a great question. I think a lot of it has to do with fear. To be straightforward, one of the challenges about moving data and migrating data is you don't know how well it's going to go. You plan as best you can. You look at best practices, and you hire organizations that have done this kind of thing before. But there's still this sense of fear that if I pick something up from one location and I move it to another location, is it going to be right? Is it going to have all the security around it? Is it going to have all the access controls around it? Is it going to have all those kinds of things that I need for my managing my data? And am I going to be able to transition from one location to another? So I think the biggest challenge in that respect is fear. One of the things that Nasuni does is really help customers understand sort of what their current footprint is, do a very solid assessment of what they have today and what their current footprint is today. And then we've got some very knowledgeable people and some very sophisticated tools that help them move that data from where it is today in legacy systems, sitting all over their enterprise, into a consolidated cloud, and then be able to access that data from wherever location they need to access it from. So we've got the people, we've got the tools, we got the knowledge. We've moved hundreds of petabytes for organizations over the lifespan of Nasuni, and really know how to do this well and help overcome some of that fear that, hey, if I move something, there may be something that's lost in translation, so to speak. I really want to make sure that when I get done, everything's going to work properly for my business, for my users, et cetera.
Oh, great. Great answer. I'm looking at your website here. You talk a lot about the concept of data gravity, which sounds like some kind of science fiction movie. I'm not sure if that's your term, or what is data gravity, and why is it important to address
it's an industry term. It's not necessarily a specific Nasuni term, but what it means is that in various locations with various applications, data tends to need to be at that location. It needs to be running in that location. Let's use an example here. If you're a manufacturer and you're manufacturing data, let's say in several different locations, you're manufacturing products in several different locations, and you have the need to capture all of the pieces of the manufacturing process. So if you go, if you have to do a recall, for example, if you have to go back and do some forensic analysis on a part or a piece that you manufactured, you need all that data consolidated, but you need it then in a given location where it can be analyzed, where it can be used, where it can be interpreted to go after or respond to some kind of product issue in the field or something like that. The data has gravity in that respect, in that it's generated at the location where the part is being manufactured, and certainly that's an important thing. But it also needs to be at another location where it can be analyzed and looked at and interpreted for various things that I mentioned before. So you have to be able to easily transition that data to the location that it needs to be, so that it can be effectively used for whatever use case that is. And that's really what the Nasuni architecture enables. We have that, as I mentioned before, the hub and spoke architecture where the data resides in the cloud. But if you need to get it to another location for purposes of analytics or interpretation or just use by the individuals at that location, our architecture allows that transition to happen very easily. And then the data resides where it needs to be accessed from a given use case perspective.
Very nice indeed. Let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity, the scourge of ransomware. Every day you see another hospital network or school or business of any size really impacted by ransomware. You touched on it briefly, but any advice, best practices, tips, tricks on detecting, preventing ransomware?
Well, the biggest advice we give our customers is that protection from ransomware is a multi-layered approach. There's certainly protection that happens on your network. There's certainly protection that could happen, at the edge of your enterprise, wherever that may be, if it's in the cloud or if it's on, on-prem, et cetera. There's certainly tools and technology that can help you interpret, attack vectors or certain threats or those kinds of things. And you should involve all of those things in a multi-layered approach from a ransomware protection perspective. When it comes to data and storage, the most important thing is to detect it early and detect it at the source. And that's why our approach is ransomware detection at the edge, where these edge devices live, where data is being written or it's being accessed or it's being manipulated. Be able to detect it at the source in real time and give the administrators the tools to be able to mitigate the attack or prevent the spread of the attack. Because one of the worst things about ransomware is it gets into a system and then it metastasizes, it spreads, it goes and affects other data inside the system. If you can detect it early, again, at the edge where the attack is happening, and mitigate, cut off, or somehow mitigate the spread of that attack, the amount of data that's impacted is minimized. The ability to recover from that data that's impacted is quicker. You're back up and running, you're back up and functional as quickly as possible. The impact to your business is less. So our approach is detect it at the edge, understand what's going on, mitigate the spread of the ransomware so that you're not impacting other data in other locations, et cetera, and be able to recover very, very quickly so you're back up and running as a business as soon as possible, hopefully with minimal impact on your users, on your operations, et cetera.
Well done. Well, that's good luck to us all. Any success stories or anecdotes you can share about customers who've implemented your solutions and recovered data successfully? I'm sure there's lots you can't share, wouldn't be able
I
to
can
for
share in
lots of
general.
reasons.
I mean, we've had, unfortunately, the way of the world, we've had several customers be hit by ransomware. But one of the things that they appreciate about the Nasuni approach is that, first of all, they're warned right away. They know it's happening right away. They're not waiting for it to be, identified through some sort of secondary process, like a backup process or whatever. They know right away that an attack is happening, so they can take action. And because of the way we store data, and especially because of the way we store multiple versions of data in the cloud, they're able to recover to a known good point in time very quickly. Once the attack is mitigated, once you've cut off the spread of the attack, if you will, the next thing to do is to recover the data to a known good point in time, only the impacted data, so that you're back up and running as if you were before the attack happened. And that's all built into our architecture. That's all built into our global file system, which has multiple versions that you can recover to very easily. And because our customers are wanting to get back up and running as quickly as possible, they take advantage of that. And in most cases, when they've been hit by ransomware, the problem's been mitigated, the recovery's been quick, the impact on the business has been minimal. No one, of course, has paid a ransom to get their data back. So all of those things in combination have helped our customers take advantage of the capabilities that Nasuni delivers.
Wow, well done. So you mentioned partnerships a bit earlier. Tell us about your go-to-market. How do you work with partners of all kinds? And I imagine the hyperscalers are in there at some level.
Yeah, the hyperscalers are sort of the first level, if you will, because again, we leverage object storage in AWS and Azure and Google and some of the other cloud providers, as well as private object store providers are partners as well. So a core to our architecture is the object storage solution that they provide. So we work very closely with the folks at AWS, the folks at Azure, the folks at Google, and some of the other cloud providers to understand what new features and capabilities they're bringing to their storage platform. What can we take advantage of? How can we, leverage some of the new things that they're building and they're developing? Things like multiple tiers inside a given object storage platform to lower costs for storing data, particularly inactive data. We take advantage of that all the time across the major hyperscalers. So that's a big focus area for our business, and certainly it helps us because partners like those identify opportunities where Nasuni is a good fit for what the customer is looking for. And so it's a mutual benefit kind of relationship where they bring us opportunities where Nasuni is the right solution the right scalable solution, the right protection solution, et cetera, to meet the customer's demand and requirements. So that's more on the platform and infrastructure side. We also work with a number of application vendors, people that produce applications that help customers design either buildings and infrastructure, or design systems, computers, manufacture technologies, et cetera. So we work with all kinds of different application vendors and certify that those applications work very well with the Nasuni platform. They can take advantage of the scalability, the security that we have built in, et cetera, to deliver a seamless solution for the customer. And they appreciate that, obviously, that they know that if they're going to use this application from this vendor, Nasuni has certified it and it works with the Nasuni platform.
Great. Well, that's a fantastic insight. We have CES coming up next week, so you would have thought cloud storage would be the secret enabler behind the scenes of so many
Sure.
apps and services, devices.
Absolutely.
And you look after the roadmap, obviously. Anything you care to share, 12 months out, 24 months out, what's on your radar that's particularly exciting?
Yeah, we're always looking at, where are our customers going? What are the needs that they have? And where does our business need to evolve to meet those requirements? I can't give you any specifics, but I'll talk in general about some of the big areas that we're focused on. One of the big areas is data intelligence. And I mentioned one of the challenges that customers have is understanding what data they have. So giving them some intelligence around the data that they're storing inside of Nasuni. For example, how old is the data? How long has it been since the data has been accessed? Who accessed it most recently? Has it been accessed from other locations? Those kinds of intelligent things will help them understand and curate their data when they're ready to go, say use that data for AI purposes or something like that. So data intelligence is a big focus area for us, and we'll be announcing some new data intelligence capabilities here in the first quarter that will help our customers really understand the footprint that they have inside of Nasuni. Now, obviously, it's only focused on Nasuni at this point in time, but it will give them ideas about how to understand the data they may have in other platforms and how Nasuni can actually deliver a better solution for that data, particularly if they need to consolidate it to get it ready for, AI and those kinds of things. So that's coming this year. We're also going to be adding more access methods and access protocols to the system to give customers more flexibility in how they access their data. So more APIs, for example, more interfaces that are, sort of standard interfaces that customers can take advantage of. So we're sort of broadening the aperture, if you will, of how customers can get access to their data. And in particular, because it will help them leverage that data from an AI perspective. So the data intelligence, the data access, and then helping them design and leverage sort of pipelines to get that data into an AI ML solution so they can now start to take advantage of that data. That's really kind of our focus for 2024.
Brilliant. Well, exciting times. Any travel or trips coming up for you personally? What's on your agenda as
Well, I always
we're in
travel to speak.
2024?
Yeah, I always travel to speak with customers. I've got a number of those meetings already on the docket for the first quarter. So I'm looking forward to that. I always say the best day you can ever spend is the day with a customer. So we really take advantage of that as a company. We spend a lot of time, myself and my team, in front of customers and really, dive into exactly what they need from Nasuni, and it helps shape our roadmap and our direction. I'm sure I'll be meeting with our cloud service provider partners. Through the first half of the year, we generally meet a couple of times a year on a regular basis. So yes, all kinds of trips planned, both here in U.S., North America, as well as in Europe. So I'll be on the road like I usually am in this job. But it's great. It really is fulfilling.
It's fun. Although traveling in the winter can be a bit of a crapshoot, but it is what it is here in Boston and in Denver. It's always entertaining trying to get in and out. But thanks so much for joining and sharing your vision and insights. I learned a lot. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Reach out to Nasuni, follow them on social. They have tons of really great content, in my opinion. And have a great year, Russ. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Evan. Appreciate it.